Good evening. Welcome to the Michael Muse Show, the author Rise and Burn, and truly I am the fearless coach. And we are in for a treat tonight because our title tonight is Breaking Out of the Norm. And one thing about breaking out of the norm, everyone is looking for the answer. They're looking for the answer at work. They're looking for the answer in business. They're looking for solutions everywhere they go. And they wonder, what does it mean to break out of the norm? And I have a gentleman here tonight. When I tell you, he's not just, he is legendary. He's a virtual CEO. He's the magnetic marketer. This guy's going to be dropping some gems and some nuggets like never before. Ladies and gentlemen, to introduce the some, but definitely introduce the many, Mr. Anthony Abron.
Whoa, man. I tell you what, man, that's exciting. It's good to hear somebody with a powerful voice give me an intro for a change. So I was like, wow, I love that. Thank you so much, Mike. It is an absolute pleasure and honor to be here gracing your platform. So, yes, man, I'm stoked.
Well, Brother Anthony Abron, it is truly a pleasure. And when it comes to breaking out of the norm and just looking at where you come from hitting the pavement with an 18-wheeler truck, going from point A to point B, and to go from that to now you're global, all over the world, touching lives and changing the trajectory of people's lives. It does not get any better than that. So my very first question for you is, how did you get into driving trucks, and what happened to make the transition?
Wow, man, that's, first of all, that's a good question. I get asked that quite often, and it's kind of funny, but I always tell people this, how I ended up in the truck driving realm, in the transportation industry. I was a penny per mile truck driver, and what had happened was is that I ended up I was climbing the corporate ladder.
Yeah.
And they say that, people say that you reach a glass ceiling, or you fell off the ladder. Well, I got kicked off the corporate ladder.
Oh, Boop. Man. Uh-oh.
That's when you get laid off, you get fired, you climbing up, boom, got kicked off the corporate ladder, couldn't find a job, was out of work, was submitting my resume everywhere and just coming up nowhere. And I'm like, I had been a golden boy, understand that I had everything, and I made a high, great salary and whatnot. I had a leader of people and done that, but I couldn't find a job. And things just began to spiral in my life to where I was, just doing what I can to make ends meet. And I had a friend of mine that was involved in the industry, and I said, hey, look, what I got to do to get into this, and make this happen. He told me what to do. I did it. The next thing you know, I was got my CDL, and I was the timing couldn't have been perfect, because next thing I know, I was brushing my teeth in the back of a truck stop, and I was sleeping in the back of a truck, man. I was homeless, but it one door closed and another one opened, and it's just one of those things in life, man. So that's kind of really the short, abbreviated version of how it happened to me. And I was at the lowest of low, going through a divorce, going through bankruptcy, going through repossession, you name it. I mean, it was happening to me at a very young age, and quite frankly, just kicking my butt.
Right.
Yep.
And what's remarkable about what you said, and I think a lot of times people fail to realize, when we're going through some form of adversity and going through struggles, it's usually two choices going to happen during that time. You're going to get extremely worse in a situation, or you choose to shine. So for you, what mentally did you do to make sure you shine in that situation?
Well, I've always, Mike, the thing about it is I've always been a fighter. And so even at that lowest point, I couldn't just give up. But although I couldn't see the future. I couldn't see the future. All I saw was my world tumbling around me. And quite honestly, I despised where I was at. I mean, you want to talk about going from, flying across the country, staying in the, the best hotels and, eating the finest dining, to all of a sudden now I'm getting a $9.99 truck stop steak. Like, I was a little bougie, you know what I'm saying? I was like, whoa, wait a minute. This ain't how life is supposed to be. So, I wasn't happy with it, but the thing about it was, it's funny how the creator works is that he takes you through a process of breaking you down. So, they say the way you build a champion is you break them down and then you build them back up. You break a man's spirit so that he can give birth to the champion that's inside of him. So I had to be broken down to give birth to the champion that was inside of me. And so that's what happened to me. So what happened was I saw where I was at. And after some time in it, I said, wait a minute, that natural inclination of entrepreneurial spirit started kicking in. Well, just a fight. It wasn't even entrepreneur at the time. It was like, I knew I wanted better. So I started looking for better and looking for better. And so I went from this job to the next job to the next thing I knew, I was like, hey, I started networking. Networking. I see the guys, because this is how it was, and it's funny, if I go a little long, let me just tell you, so I would be on the truck stops and I see these guys in these big fancy rigs, right? And and I know how much this stuff costs. I mean, if you sitting on spinning rims on an 18-wheeler, it costs. Wait a minute, what am I doing wrong? I need to ask you what you're doing. And then so there was a materialistic part, but and understanding it was costing, $400 to $500 just to fill the tank up on these trucks, right? That's how much it costs. And so having conversations with these guys and networking and understand they were a different breed than the average truck, then that's when my mind began to get open. And I got a mentor in the industry. That same friend that turned me on to it, he was up in the level, he was self-employed. So he was always on tap for me to call. And he was the one who guided me throughout the process as I learned. And at the same time, with his foundation, I networked with other individuals that showed me even more things. I gained other strategic friends along the way. Yeah.
And so one thing you said is real important. I want everyone to really kind of take notice of. Once you start networking, if you came across that one person who is really able to guide you along, that's what helped you to separate yourself from the pack, and you're able to see from a different vantage point. Am I correct?
Absolutely. It changed my whole perspective because when I having that mentor, if I didn't have I had that guidance, and I didn't call him a mentor at the time. Let's be clear, I didn't. He was just my homeboy, right? And went to high school with him. But he was giving me, and in fact, that's what he was doing. He was being my mentor and he was being my guide. So I trusted his direction. And I'm the type of person that if I'm in the forest and you got the light, I'm following you because I want to get out. Right? I'll forget you, man. You're taking too long. Let me turn over here and go in the dark forest by myself trying to figure out all the wolves and all that. You've already been through that way. You can tell me how to stop it. He told me he taught me how to overcome all that. So what happened was, from there, I ended up just blossoming and owning my own rig. And then from owning my own rig, then it morphed into me becoming a freight broker and then running a $1 million freight industry, freight brokerage as far as sales. And ended up having a fleet of independent subcontractors that were all across the country who were running rigs myself. So I was doing that all from home. So coming from there, from penny per mile truck driver to all of a sudden having a business and being in control, I had to go through that. I'm so thankful that I went through it. Like I wouldn't change it again now, And so, but that's how I ended up doing that. But how I ended up where I'm at now, which is working, what I do now is I help small to medium-sized businesses that struggle with their marketing. And I sit down with them, I show them exactly why that's happening to them. But then I give them a clear plan of action that allows them to make more money and gain more exposure than they ever have before using the magnetic marketing system that I have and that I implement in my business. So that whole online space.
So what you're pretty much saying here is you went from getting exposure on the road not showing people how to get exposure on the web.
I never looked at it like that. I'm gonna take that, man. I'm gonna coin that for you.
Brother, that is yours. It is yours.
Yeah. That's that. Yeah, I did. I went for, quite honestly, I never loved what I did. And I tell people that all day. I'm not embarrassed about it. I have a lot of respect for the hardworking knights of the road, because they are. Everything that you have in your house, from all those books, that bookshelf, the clothes on your back, everything that you have on you was brought by an 18-wheeler. So first of all, mad respect to them. Okay. But as for me personally, it was not the place where my full my full blossom, I could fully blossom into everything that I wanted to be in that calling. So I was done. I was done. I went to as far as I could go, and that I felt, and I had to make a change in direction, and I did that. I did that.
So for your story, it's a little bit slightly different from what we're used to hearing, because usually we hear people say, "Hey, I'm just working a job I hate, and I'm not making no money." and so yours is the opposite. You was doing something you didn't love to do, but you were making good money.
Yeah, I was.
So I want you to help our viewers out here for a second. For the person who has the comfortable job and it's kind of easy, comfy, good salary, they're able to take care of their family. What mental shift did you do or start to do to go from, you know what, I need to make this move for what I'm doing now because I don't care for it, and what made the decision to get into the web-based market?
Well, that's a great question. Well, again, I have another story to tell you. So first of all, I got, sick and tired of being sick and tired. Yeah. And eventually, when you get sick and tired, you don't have the motivation to do it anymore. It's just not there. And so just to be completely transparent, things began to just, fall off in the business. I just wasn't into it. I wasn't there. And, and this is the first time I ever tell anybody this, because no one has ever asked me this, but, I was gracefully, and gratefully released from that industry. And when I say released, is that, hey, your service is no longer needed up under the umbrella that I was working. And I was like, oh, thank you. Yeah. And so there was always a call on my life to use my voice. And so I didn't know, I always heard use my voice. So I took it literally. And I started out as I said, okay, creator, use my voice. So I became a voiceover artist. Yeah. I started doing commercials for people. I thought that's what he wanted me to do. And so I started a whole company, and I called it an Urban and Toxic Media. And actually I created a persona called Urban and Toxic, but that's a whole other story. But Urban and Toxic Media, and I started doing voiceovers for people. And I started, and then people said, hey, Anthony, I love your voice. So people started taking me that, and appreciate the love. My very first client was my church, and it was my pastor, because I had a friend of mine in Houston that did, there was a producer, and we did some really rough demos, like rough. Now you laugh at them, but I tried, and I submitted them to my pastor, and I wanted him to listen to them. He said, well, Anthony, you know what? It just so happens that right now we're writing the podcast, and I was looking for somebody to be the intro. He said, your voice is great. Not only, she said, not only will I help you with this, I'd love for you to be the voice. So he worked with me. I'm a fast learner. And long story short, to this day, I am the intro and outro of all of the sermons for Pastor Trey Rose of the Exchange Church.org. So anytime you listen to any of those, and they're heard literally all across the world, you hear me at the intro and you hear me at the outro. And it really opened up from there. Like when I say I stepped out completely, I was like, okay, I'm a voiceover artist. The next thing you know, I went out and I started, shopping to all the local radio stations, like knocking on their door, like, how can I get some work? I landed at the local radio station KAZI, which is the community African-American radio station. Steve Savage took me in and said, Anthony, you know what? I got an opportunity for you. Long story short, I ended up landing Babyface as my very big client.
Okay,
Yeah.
don't get better than that. Babyface.
Babyface, 10-time Grammy Award winning Babyface, man, and it just continued to skyrocket from there. And I've done a lot of different work for podcasts and different people. So I say all that to say this. So as that happened, Mike, people said, Anthony, they would always ask me, now I love your voice. We created this. Now what do I do with it? I'm like, it's your advertisement. You came to me, I created it, but they were like, no, what do I do with it? People didn't know. They only knew one thing. And so I ended up giving them advice on how to advertise and where to put it at. Well, what happened was I ended up becoming a consultant. And then and I'll never forget, somebody cut me a check. My very first check, somebody cut me for 2 hours of my time was $150 check for 2 hours. I was like, oh, you know, I didn't know that could be done just for talking, just for sharing what I did. But that's where the birth of it began. So I started my consulting company, and I started consulting, and it opened up. I didn't even know I always had this, but it opened up the whole marketing and advertisement world to me, and that's how it began.
And that is absolutely amazing. So pretty much like you said, you took one avenue, just using your voice, and you were able to take it and expand it in other areas. And once you did that, you're able to see, hold on, you kind of realize, you know what, I can go even higher than what I've been doing by using my voice. And then, like you said, once you start doing the consulting, and obviously you're definitely a people person, man. So definitely you put those people skills in play, man, that smile, man. So, you know, so from that process there, what made you get into the consulting people online and helping them with their business, and what credentials did you feel you brought to the table to facilitate that?
Well, you know, first of all, everything is a layer, everything's a process. And I have to tell you this, that, you know, when you step out and you walk in faith, right? And I tell people all the time, I'm a believer. I'm not a preacher, but I'm a believer, right? So I may say some colorful words, but I won't do that on you. But that's the trucker in me coming out. Like
that's right.
But, I'm a spiritual gangster. So
spiritually jacking people, huh?
Jackie, but when you walk out on faith, man, when you literally walk out on faith and you don't know where your next step is going, every step was just like, you know, I didn't plan it. It just morphed, and I kept asking, what do I do next? And these opportunities kept coming, and there were things that I loved and I gravitated towards. And I was like, I love this. Like, I love to consume, you know, books about marketing. I love to consume information about marketing. My mind just clicks that way. Like, I'm a creative. I wake up in the morning, and, you know, and I'm in a pool of sweat of creativity. And I dream in vivid color. You know, like I see words, I take time. I'm a word processing person, so advertising wise, those were the things that people needed, and they come to me for. They're like, hey, could you help me with this? Could you help me write this letter? Could you help me write this information? Oh, by the way, would you mind doing the voiceover for it too?
So you put those multiple streams of income in place now.
Multiple streams, and so all of it was layers. So from everything that I learned in corporate America, right, as far as team building and all that, and things that I knew, networking, to what I learned in the trucking industry, and understanding there was a tenacity and that had to be put in place with that too, and to attract people. I was actually doing those type of things. That's why I laughed when you said that, because I had flyers and stuff that I was putting out to all the truck stops and different people so that I can gain clients, you know. And so I was already marketing. I just didn't know I was doing it. I didn't know. Exactly. I didn't know what I was doing. So when this opportunity came to open up the world, it blew me away. And I always had I was blessed with a gift to see a little bit further than the average person. My wife always say, you know, I'm smarter than the average bear. You know, that's question. But I started looking at looking ahead. And like, this is the internet. This is the worldwide internet. And the reason that drew me, I was in sales in corporate America. I was always in sales, and I look at sales, and I didn't graduate from college. You know, I look at sales as a great equalizer. It was where this is the only opportunity where a person with no quote unquote education, no formal education, has the opportunity that the playing field is level. Don't matter the color of your skin, don't matter where you come from. It's, can you move this product from A to B like a football field? And the person that moves the furthest is the one that's going to win. I was like, I'm game on for that. Right. And so, you know, and it was always there, man.
Absolutely, man. And you know what? When it comes to breaking out of the norm for most people, that I know is you conquered early on. You conquered that fear. Because most people, when it comes to breaking out of the norm of what they've been doing, it's so easy for them to get caught up in the fear of what's going to happen, what could or should or what maybe. And you took that step. Like you said, you made sure you was doing a lot of reading, and you made sure you was analyzing the marketplace. And then from that point, you just married the gifts and talents that you had to what you were getting into. And like you say, and having that support system in place, you were able to make that transition pretty quickly. Yeah.
So the reason why it helped it was what I tell you, there was a lot. Let me tell you, there's two things that was happening in that truck for all of those years. I was there for 7 years. Most of the time I was driving before I did that. I was doing two things, man. I was on my knees in the back praying, and I was reading. I was always reading. I was using my smartphone to study and look up stuff and find out, you know, what I could do. I was always trying to look. At first, it was just pushing my resume out. But even with that, I was leveraging the internet to try to get exposure and didn't realize I was learning during the process. I was learning how to navigate the internet world. And so I was far ahead of the average person. When I stepped out, I just didn't know it. I didn't know what I was doing. So when all this happened, you know, then it's like, oh, I know how to do that. And I figured, yeah, everybody knows that. No, you know, right?
Exactly.
You know, so again, that's the creator giving you gifts that you can't even see. Like, you don't even know what you got going on. So fear. Your point was about fear.
Yes,
absolutely. There was a case of fear, and I had to face that fear, you know, and I had to face it several times. And at this point in my life, I tell people all day that, you know, I've lost my fear. But there was a time, and they say, what do you mean? Well, I can go into that a little bit later, but I was fearful, and fear is the thing that holds most people back, of thinking that they're not good enough, they're not smart enough, they're not worthy, somebody's going to talk about them. They have all these detractors in their head that are not real.
Right.
Okay. Not real. And even if they are real, right, in terms of there actually is somebody that has something to say about you, they are no factor on where you're going into the future. They have no factor on that. And so I had to realize, I said, do I either want to continue to stay here or do I want to face that? And I faced my fears, and I said, okay, I believe so wholeheartedly that I hated where I was at so bad that I'm willing to take that jump. I hated comfort so bad that I'm willing to take that jump. But I want to build, I want to do something great. I want to be known. I want to leave a mark on this world and leave a legacy for my family. How can I do that? I can't do that being average. I can't do that, you know, hiding behind the bushes. I can't do that quelling my voice. I just can't.
And you said one thing that caught my attention right there. You said you got to the point where you didn't mind being uncomfortable. And if you could talk about that part there, because you know what? That's the part right there that stops a lot of people from getting to the next level, because they refuse to get into an uncomfortable situation. So if you kind of walk us through that real quick, I appreciate it.
Yeah. First of all, let me say this. Anybody that's watching this, that's an entrepreneur, an aspiring entrepreneur, a person that has a book or an author, whatever, you know, a book, or, you know, whether you have a brick and mortar business, you're in insurance, wherever the industry that, you know, that you're in, and what are you doing, network marketing, whatever. The fact is this: 95% of people are lazy. Now,
preach.
They're not going to do it. They're complacent with where they're at. They're caught inside the box. And so you have to understand that most of your competition is false. All you have to do is simply stand up, navigate around those crabs in the barrel, if there are crabs, or navigate around those zombies, right? and just simply by making an effort, you're going to be 50% of the way than half of them.
Yes.
You're halfway there, you know? And so that's the thing to realize, is that once I realized that, one of my favorite books that I read, that I got introduced to and I read, that blew my mind, changed everything, was a book called Think and Grow Rich.
Yes. Yes.
Have you read that one?
Yes. Dennis Kimbro. Yes.
Yes, Dr. Dennis Kimbro, because people used to get confused. Yes. When I read Dr. Dennis Kimbro's version of Think and Grow Rich, that was a game changer for me. I always looked at it as it should be an addendum to the good book, because now I could understand this even more. And it was like, oh, this is what I got to do. I got to serve. You know, if I serve and I provide value in the marketplace, people want that. Okay, if I raise and elevate my voice, you know, I'll be like the insurance guy, I forget his name right now, who back in the day was willing to go knocking on doors during segregation and talking to people about insurance. He built a mass of millions of dollars. I said, if he could do that back then, and it's quote unquote better now, I could do that.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Okay, I'll do that. You know? So yeah. So so knowing that 95% of the people are afraid and they're zombies. If you elevate and you face the fear that isn't real, right? And you face that challenge and understand that there's a growth that's going to come out of it, you can't help but win. You know, and whatever it is, there is no lose. I learned this, you know, a good friend of mine taught me this, that either you win or you learn. There is no fail, right?
Exactly.
Either you win or you learn. Because if your attempt at whatever you're doing is not successful by the terms of whatever you set it to, you learn something, right?
Exactly.
You watch a little kid, and I tell you a truck story, right? You know, I never forget when I was first driving, and I used to drive tankers, right? So in the tankers, if you look like a Coke bottle, it was like this, right? So just like this, right? I'm visual, right?
Right.
So you're coming back, the liquid is sloshing just like this. So I'm in somewhere in Colorado, coming down a hill at like 70 miles an hour, and that liquid is coming, and we hit a curve.
Uh-oh.
Well, the centrifugal force in that, if y'all can see that, we come around the corner, and all that water's to the right?
Exactly, yes.
I felt that truck almost tilt over, hitting the brakes, clenching my butt, praying, and I got it back down, right? Okay. You think I ever came down that hill again that fast? No. I learned. Slow your butt down.
Exactly.
Smooth and easy. You know, big, slow, and ugly was what they told us. Big, slow, and ugly. Big, slow, and ugly. Right? And that's a process that I still carry on to this day when it comes to business. Everybody wants it quick. And there are some things that'll be quick. But success is big, slow, and ugly.
And you know, I'm glad you said that. I know for a lot of people, especially online, the biggest mistake a lot of people are making, they have gotten away from that human contact of even being on a phone to talk to people, getting to know who they are, know their background, and just building that relationship. And so for you by you being the magnetic marketer, what are some of the things you have done in your networking and building relationships that has built you business to where it's at now?
Good question. Yeah, it's funny because I may have to change it to marketer, but it's magnetic networker, but everybody seems to like putting marketer next to it. So, hey, I may have to go with the crowd, right? Like, you're not the first person that they always attach that particular phrase to me. So maybe it's the creator telling me something. But you know, it's funny because the internet, people think that the internet is they just put up a website or they put up a sales funnel or they do something, all of a sudden they're going to get rich. But it's really just an access way. It's just a tool to get you closer to the relationship. And so, like you and I, one of the reasons why we're here doing this is because I reached out to you, right? You mind me sharing?
Yeah, go ahead and share.
Okay, so like, I think there was something that I had or whatever. Anyway, you got something from me, and I was like, when you did get it, I reached out to you. I said, hey, I called you on the phone. How you doing?
Right.
How it is, and that's a process that I do with all people. And it's not that it's fake. It's like I want to get to know the people who are interacting with me, right?
Exactly.
And it's not a switch. These are people that we're serving. And so I need to know, for one, is my product good? Number two, what your needs are. If I don't know your needs and we had never made a connection, then how can I expect to serve you? How can I expect to get better? And again, people are that fear, right?
Yes.
And that 95% of people being zombies. If you break through that and you can make this connection, your growth is there. It's going to open up, and the relationships are the highest currency. The highest or the most valuable currency in the marketplace is the relationship.
Yeah.
Like Michael Muse is my boy. That's my man.
That's right. That's right. I come to Austin. I got a place to stay.
Got a place to stay. We're gonna have some barbecue in the backyard. Like that's where it's at, because that's invaluable. And I think about that again. I learned all these different. You got me really sparking right now when it comes to this trucking, because I gained so many friends across the country when I was on the road, that if I was in certain places and if I knew my truck broke down or I had an extended stay, I could call up friends and say, hey, I'm in town. Hey, what's up? Come on over. Because of the relationship.
Exactly.
And
relationships. Yeah, your relationships are so important. I stress it to people, let them know that if you are not willing, if you're a person who is not willing to invest in other people, you need to stick with your 9 to 5. You need to stick with someone telling you what to do, what time to be there. Because if you're not willing to invest in other people, you're not willing to invest into their future, and you're going to be stuck in your mold. And usually those are the people who refuse to invest in themselves. Those are the people when they see other people around them taking courses, going to seminars, learning new skills. Those are the people who are the ones laughing, teasing, and say, hey, I heard, oh, so you spent $5,000 to go here, so-and-so speak, and those are the same people who refuse. And, they definitely do not need to be in an entrepreneurship. I truly believe there, a lot of times, especially online, we see people that push entrepreneurship. But truthfully, a lot of people need to keep their 9 to 5 and just get good at what they're doing. Because if you're not willing to invest in yourself and you're not willing to invest in other people, I'm not talking about just money, but just intellectually and even on a heart level, is just exchange your ideas. If you're not willing to do that, you waste your time, because you're not going to be able to handle the bad times. Because in relationships, one thing about relationships, no matter who you are and how long you've been friends, there are going to be times where you're going to have disagreements. There are going to be some times where things don't go just right, and people who are not into people and wanting to see people happy, they make the wrong decisions, and they could take something that took many years to build and get burnt down real quick. And a prime example, we always see it when it comes to a second generation business owner. All of a sudden, the father has spent his whole life building his company up. The son comes in, take it over, and in a matter of a few years, the company has lost its reputation and everything, because the son felt like, hey, I didn't need to invest in those relationships where my dad had to. I got it already. And that company, a lot of times, is no longer in a matter of a few years.
Yeah. I've seen that. I've seen the pluses. I'm a guy that's half glass full, so I've seen it happen on sides where it's like that. But I've also seen it where they've passed the generational torch on to their kids and they've ran with it. And so that's where leadership comes in at.
Yes.
And being that you have to instill that in your children, early on, and gravitate to that. But what I'll speak to as far as investment, it's no different than. And again, I use the trucking industry because it's you're just there tonight.
Exactly.
everybody has the same opportunity in that industry if they chose to to elevate their existence, if you will. Even and I said it not just in that industry, but in every industry. Everyone has if you get a paycheck, you're on a job, you have the opportunity to elevate your existence by what you choose to spend your money on and where you choose to put it, right?
Exactly.
And so what I had to do was I had to take sacrifice and my money aside because I knew that how much it was going to cost for me to put a payment on rig. I knew how much it was going to cost for me to get certain insurances and how it was going to take for me to get that.
Yeah.
But I also knew that it cost a pretty penny. But I also knew what I seen what the checks were going to look like, and I never forget what that first check was. And so people, there's a good friend of mine that says invest in yourself at the level at which you want to see a return. And so my advice to you is that if you quote unquote want a 6-figure job, or maybe you have a current 6-figure job, but you want your business to have a 6-figure, to continue a 6-figure lifestyle that you're used to, then you're going to have to put forth a percentage of your business or your income towards that. Absolutely. And it's oftentimes, again, going back to that 95% zombie rule, okay, that most people can't see, right? Is that if you're not willing to invest 10%, we're talking about $10,000 of your $100,000, or whatever your income is. If you're $60,000 a year, not willing to invest 10% into some type of learning, educational or business tool, to empower your business, how can you expect to blow up? How can you expect to have that? Let me tell you, beyond the truck, I invested my money to sit at the feet of other reputable leaders and teachers so that I can learn these things, so I can learn how to get better, because I had a basic knowledge, but I had to learn. And once I consumed it, but after I learned it, then I had to turn around and put it into action. Yes. Action. I didn't get excited. I didn't go I didn't go spend all the money, fly across this town, get excited and about all the hoopla and emotional. We cried together, we laughed together, and just like, oh, I didn't go back and say, wow, that was good. When's the next one? No, I got my butt to work. Exactly. I started putting it in. Okay, let me see, how can I make this happen? Let me do it. Let me put it. And most people won't do that. And there's a process to the success that you're gonna get to break out of the norm. And breaking out of the norm is not hard. What did we say the first thing was? 95% of people are zombies, right? Right. The second one, most people won't take action. Take the action, okay? And that leads us to the third point. You want me to know about the third point, or maybe you got another question for me?
Oh, bring that third point on. Bring it on.
Third point on. You have to plug into your power source, and you have to invest in your personal development. Your personal development has to be directly associated. Those two things directly associated with having a mentor. Okay. So you got your personal development, your spiritual development, your mindset, right? Then you have the processes where you learn from someone, and then you took the action of just simply breaking out of the norm. 1, 2, 3. But it starts from here. You reverse engineer it. People want to say start from the bottom up. No, start from the top down. Remember, top down.
That's right. And you know what, Anthony, you hit a good point. You said from top down. You're reminding me of a game with Michael Jordan, and the year of Jason Kidd's rookie year. Jason Kidd was guarding him, and he felt honored. He's getting a chance to guard the greatest. And he said, Michael Jordan came over to him. I don't know if you heard the story, but Michael Jordan came over to him and said, I'm scoring 40 points on you tonight. He told him, he said, I'm going to score 40 points on you tonight.
Wow.
And so the game gets started. Michael get the ball, get the first shot off on him. He said, 38. And Jason Kidd was messed up. He's like, hold on, 38? Hold on, what's going on? Before he can even rationalize the 38, he had got it down to 34. He's like, hold on. This guy's going backwards on me. He done started from the top coming down. And like top down. And like you say, that's a whole different paradigm shift that people have to look at things from a different vantage point. And that means looking at things not from where it's at, but where it already is, and just taking action from that point. Because if you take action from that point, whatever mistakes you make, that's fine. Because guess what? You're going to learn a whole lot quicker with a higher vantage point versus a lower vantage point. You know, just like, you know, if you're in the same room with some turtles and giraffes, when it comes to danger, I'm going to listen to what that giraffe got to say. His neck is way higher. He can see a whole lot further. Now, if I want to hear some gossip, I listen to the turtles. Complain about the worms. Everything else is down real low. But yeah, you hit an excellent point there. And let me ask you this question here, because I know for me and I know for people in general, what did you do to keep a vantage point like that, to keep that mentality of staying high and keeping that perspective as you was taking action?
Well, that's real simple. It's the circle of friends that you choose to be around, and you have to have a think tank or a mastermind of people that they're not all your friends. Let's be clear. They're not all just buddy sitting cracking beers with you, right? But they're people that will answer your phone call and will sit down and talk to you, who are moving and shaking at a higher pace than you, and making sure that you're on their radar and you have them in your circle to, because when having friends like that, when they drop nuggets, crumbs from their table are like complete meals on mine. Right? Oh, okay. I could do something with that, because it's that elevation process. And I have this term where I say, don't let your ego block your extra zero. Right?
I need you to break that down real quick, because I think that went over some people's head right there.
Yeah.
Break that philosophy down for the audience.
Yeah. So it's okay to have a healthy self-image. All right. It's okay to feel empowered and have some pride about yourself. That's okay. But when your ego gets so full that you feel like you've reached a certain level in your life where you can't learn from anyone else, and you can't, take a position where you're not the head, where, I've been in positions where I've learned from people half my age, and they've taken me to a whole nother level in different areas and segments of my business, especially in the technology realm. These millennials are moving and shaking, right? Exactly. And so you want to learn from them. And the ego is when it comes up, and ego also shows up in, I don't know what your audience is, but ego shows up in the African-American community where, and that's, of course we know that's, that culturally, bred down from slavery mentality and whatnot. And we're breaking out of that. When you see that another person is there, that you can't learn from them. And so what I always make it is that I tell people, don't let your ego get in your way. If I can learn from a Michael Muse and, and I can sit there and be with a fearless coach, then I need to be at his footsteps, and I need to borrow his strength, and I need to learn from that so that I can apply that to myself. And oh, by the way, you know what? If I can't directly pay him, I can definitely pay him homage by forwarding other people towards him so that he can then be lifted up and be raised. See, that's what removing your ego. Don't let your ego block your extra zero, because that ego will stop you from sitting at a Michael Muse's, being on the call, listening, and that ego will stand in the way and say, I can do it better. I don't like the graphics. I want this. Ego shows up like that. Okay, ego, and that ego, and there are people that are not here right now. We love the people that are here. First of all, you guys are smart. You guys are here. We know that there's an element of people who passed by and went, okay, that just blocked that extra zero. Those nuggets that have been dropped in here, they'll never understand. They'll never know. They don't know about the gifts I'm gonna give them. That's okay. They don't know that. So that blocked that extra zero that's there that could actually take them from $40,000 a year to $400,000 a year. from,
Exactly.
a $10,000 a year business to now you actually gonna break 6 figures for the first time in your life. Like that's what I mean by that. So healthy self-esteem, healthy pride, okay, healthy, self-awareness, but an overabundance of ego kills opportunity.
And you hit on the nail right there, man. One thing I learned early on when I was young is when it comes to ego, in theory, pretty much what we're doing is we're easing God out the equation altogether. And once we ease them out the equation, hey, we've already limited our equation of adding to ourselves because we feel like we have the answer already.
Right.
And so I got a good question here, man. And one thing about ego, I see a lot of it online. A lot of people come with their own philosophy, and when they connect with people, their philosophy is, they don't say it, but the unwritten rule is if you don't do business with me, then I don't want to talk to you because I've sat under Les Brown, I've listened to Lisa Nichols, I've been around Trey Oss and Shay Brown. I've been around them guys, and I've been around the gurus, and so if you don't fit into that mix, if you're not willing to spend money with me, because see, I got the hookup and I know what I'm doing, I'm making money, and if you don't join forces with me, then I don't even want to be your friend on Facebook. I don't want to you're not worthy to see my tweets. And when you've come across that, how have you dealt with that?
Well, first of all, let's say this. It's funny because I know that element exists in the marketplace, and it is real. But
yes,
this is the tools that I'm gonna tell you guys right now and what you do. See, most of the time, and this is directly related to the topic. This is worth its weight right now. What I'm about to give you right now is going to blow your mind. It's actually going to change the course of your business right now. Okay. This is what you need to understand. So sit close to your edge, and I want you to write this. I'm going to say this very clearly. Facebook is not the only platform to build your business. It is not. So no one controls the internet. There are millions of other platforms, millions of other people, if not billions, literally. And there are other platforms that allow you greater exposure with less cost, if not any, to grow your business and build your tribe. I'm really big on building your tribe. And your tribe really is building your distribution. So when someone comes to you and say that, I think that's a lot of times when I see it, I think it's sad, and I understand where these people, they have this that's their ego getting in the way, and they don't touch and they don't talk to people unless they're paying for them. I hate it on one sense in the industry, but I love it because you know what? That means that there's opportunities where people aren't being served and where you can touch and build relationships. So in essence, if you think outside the box, if there's a center, and primarily we're talking about whatever platform they're on. If they're talking about being on Facebook, which by the way, no hate against Facebook, but it's a pay to play platform. All right.
Yes, it is.
It's pay to play, which means that everyone has clarify that, meaning that you've got your circle of friends. If those friends, whoever you've collected, are not liking and commenting on your stuff, it's limiting the exposure of where you can reach. Okay. So we're looking at it like that. All right. So to get that, you have to pay to be out there to have limited exposure to people, and as long as you can pay, you can have that exposure, right? Yes. That gets costly if you don't know what you're doing. So reverse engineer everything that's happening. So like the walls of Jericho, right? You don't break them down, you go on the outside. So on the outside, where can you go? I'm going to give you places right now. One of the places where you can go to build on the outside is you can be on places like Instagram. You can be on Instagram and build a massive following of people who are highly engaged with you, and they're eager looking for content that you have. Those, you can't block it. you reach more people. And oh, by the way, it's a sister to Facebook. So Facebook shows it love. Okay, that's one thing you can do. Another platform you can build on, which is great. First of all, and I always say this, it's like if you're in business, if you have not established yourself, and Mike, you know this to be true.
Oh, yeah.
If you haven't established yourself on LinkedIn and have a LinkedIn presence and be active on LinkedIn, then already you're behind the curve. But you can instantly jump ahead of the curve by being on LinkedIn and building up your networks and your connections in that space on that platform. Nearly 400 million business owners worldwide are on this platform.
Absolutely.
The average person, a user on Facebook, has an income of $40,000 a year. 40,000 average. The average income of a user on LinkedIn is $109,000 and climbing. So if I have a product, whatever, no matter the cost, who do I want to best position it in front of? A person who's barely making ends meet, showing pictures of their cat and pictures of what they ate, or those individuals that are actually actively looking for opportunities that can better serve and grow their business? Who do you think you want to be? I don't know.
Man, you hear the point. Hey, you want to be on LinkedIn? I mean,
you want to be on LinkedIn?
Exactly.
I'll give you this last quick one really quick, if you don't mind. I'll give you this last quick one. Another place where you want to build. I gave you two. I gave you Instagram. I gave you LinkedIn, right? Another place where you want to build up and you want to build strong is you want to take advantage of Google Plus.
Yes.
Google Plus, and I say these two together, Google Plus and YouTube are very powerful. Very powerful. The number one video search engine in the world is YouTube. The number two collectively search engine in the world is YouTube as well. It's the sister child to the number one search engine in the world, which is Google. Exactly. Google Plus is the baby of Google. Play where the number ones play at. So if you're out here, you're building all this massive following, whatever they doing this out of here, don't make no difference.
Man, you dropped a heavy nugget. And like Tiffany got in the comment section right here, that is a true elevation process right there.
Yeah.
Like you say, people up here, we see so many people and so much garbage and stuff on Facebook. Like you said, hey, go where you put like you said, go where you're gonna get the engagement you're looking for, and go where the people who can afford to buy the product or service you're selling. And like you said, LinkedIn is perfect, man. And I first saw that statistic a couple of years ago. Like, whoa, okay. That's what made me bump up my presence on LinkedIn, because I was kind of non-existent on LinkedIn. When I found that out about the income difference, like, whoa, I need to be building relationships on here. This is where the movers and shakers are. And once I've done that, I'm gonna tell you something. Once I did that, my personal development grew, because guess what? Now I'm watching and reading posts of the Richard Bransons and the other billionaires, just looking at how they view money and business and issues and the development. And when I went to that, whoa, and that's free information. And people not tapping into it.
And what it's going to do is subconsciously, when you read that constantly, see, whatever you put into your mind, right, it comes out through here, right?
Exactly.
And so you don't have to be highly educated, but if you're reading, right, and you're going to pick up on that terminology, and you're going to figure it out, and it's going to come out through your mouth. Do you speak? It's going to come out when you write. It's going to come out when you're promotions, and you begin to understand how to operate in the platform. You don't bring Facebook mentality and Facebook styles over to a LinkedIn, right? Or to a Instagram. They're totally different animals with different communication styles, and you have to understand how they both work. But yeah, that's what I do, man. That's my mentality.
Man, that is absolutely powerful right there. You dropped a heavy nugget right there, because a lot of people live and die and swear about Facebook. Like you said,
yeah, it's like, that's crazy.
like you say, just like you say, if you want to be number one, hang around number one and watch what number one is doing, and be in that number one environment. So you definitely hit a good, excellent point right there. And my question is, do you have any kids?
Yes, I do. My picture's on my wall. You can't see it, but I have 2 kids. I have a blended family. So
okay.
My wife had a child from a previous relationship, but we got 2 boys. We got a 17-year-old Jaden, and we got a 9-year-old Wesley. And so I'm an active hockey dad, and football, spring football dad, and whatever that boy is doing, he's constantly going. And married with 2 kids in the Austin, Texas area. They're my why. And sometimes I want to break them down and make them my Z, because they make me crazy. But I love wherever daddy's at, wherever I'm at in the house, all of a sudden everybody seems to make their way into whatever I'm doing. Luckily, right now, everybody's leaving me alone so I can get the show done.
Exactly. And so my question is this: when it comes to them, as you was going through the process of making the transition, how did you explain to them so it made sense to them so they could see what Daddy was doing?
Man, well, first of all, my wife already understood that once my son came of age and he started telling me that that he wanted to be a truck driver or whatever, I was like, that ain't happening. So you're gonna know, because kids emulate whatever their daddies do. Now, like I said,
exactly.
Whatever they do, and that's not the direction that I wanted to go in. No disrespect to the hardworking individuals that are in the industry.
Yes.
But without a doubt, I cannot help but say that having a loving spouse who had my back, who understood the vision that was given to me and the vision that I had, and me constantly reminding her of the vision, right, and her buying into the vision of where we're going is but her staying steadfast throughout the turbulent times was definitely key. Because if I feel for people when I've been in scenarios when you don't have a loving spouse and a supportive spouse, that can be a detriment to everything, because especially if they're an individual who comes from the 95% and you're not on the same plane, they can't wrap their minds around breaking outside of the box, and so that's a challenge. So you have to definitely the easiest thing so definitely having somebody of strength there, but then understanding that I had to quickly create success. I had to quickly create success. I couldn't drag this along. I had to show results. So I had to get up under the wings and up under the umbrellas and learn and extract that information from people. Give me what I want. Give me that. So once I got it, now I got some success. I could take it back. I can go in the lab. I can create it. And now she could see it. And she could see it in the form of a 0. She could see it in the form of a 0, right? Because that's what they see.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I get it. So when the absence of a 0, they can remember and see this person is on the path. So you got to move quick.
That is powerful right there. So pretty much what you're saying is, just so that viewers know, when it comes to your family, you have to dig deep, learn quick, execute even quicker, regroup wherever mishaps, mistakes you made, you have to regroup even quicker and take that success. Like the Bible says, you have to go from strength to strength. You have to do it quick. As you went from strength to strength, as soon as you get them few successes in, the family's able to look, okay, let's make sure we rally behind Daddy. Let's get behind my husband because he's moving in a direction. And that's one of the elements that really destroys a lot of marriages. And because I was married before for 8.5 years. And that was one of the biggest issues I had. I had a spouse that really, she didn't get on board with my vision.
Yeah.
And she was on board with kind of spending the money, but we came to getting on board with the vision. And see, I'm the type of guy, I need her to get behind with the vision. If nothing else, be my cheerleader. If I come home and you see me with not a smile on my face, put a smile on my face. Do something to encourage me. Give me some love, because and I know you know this full well, man. When we go out there as men, and we're taking on a new task, that's a battle.
Let me tell you,
and every day is not a good day.
Every day is not a good day. And one of the things that, first of all, I want to say this is that, to the women that are out there that do get it, we appreciate you. And the women that support us, we appreciate you, because there are some supportive women out there. They do exist. But as I say that, and they do, and I've been blessed because I've been on both sides of the coin with no help. And then when I got help, so I know what it feels like.
Exactly.
In the marketplace for men, especially men of color, there is, for the women collectively, right now is a great time for them to really grow, because collectively they get together and they really support each other in ways that are just like you wouldn't believe. Women come together and they support each other, their missions and whatnot. I would like to see more of them support the men. And we have a rougher challenge that we have to overcome in doing that. And if they could somehow embrace us, to bring it in. But even as I say that, that's one of the reasons why I'm excited about doing this show, because it's like, if I could stick my hand out wherever direction they're gonna be seeing this at and put my arm around you, brother, it's like, hey, I want to make sure that I support and come out, and so that people see that that we can come together too as men and support each other. So so my point, what I'm trying to, long story short, is say that it's not easy. It's not easy to get out. I wish that we had more. If they could see the masculinity that is in us and not be intimidated or be put off by that. I also think that the men have to learn as well that there's knowing how to deal with. I can't talk to you the same way I talk to a woman, and that translates on. And most don't get it. They don't get it. They don't know how to do it.
Man. They don't get it.
And they can't separate. They can't separate that. Whether, regardless of what their relationship status is, it's hard for them to separate. Doing business and doing the relationship part. That I can clearly cut between we're talking business and we're friends and we're cool and give me a hug. We're cool, right? And there's no relationship. Versus others that they're not mature enough. And and I think, so they have to be taught and being in environments where they understand it, And I've seen it on both sides. I've seen it where guys that can't control it, and I've seen it where the best of the best control it, and they like it doesn't amaze them. Like, nah, I'm not looking here. When I come into this door, it's about me doing this business and me connecting with people that can help me, helping them, and vice versa. Them, closing the deal. That's where we look at it as. And so I've always embodied that,
I totally agree with you with that, man. One thing I learned early on in the business, man, when you're dealing with women, especially in the marketplace now, we're going to.
What women got it.
Yeah, they dominate. Whether they know or not, they dominate the marketplace. And so for a man who's married or a man in general, when we deal with women in the marketplace, it's so crucial, man, to keep things professional and not let anything come between it. Because one thing I've learned just from what I'm just grateful that I've been in a position where I got a chance to see other men make those big mistakes, who took it from being business and adding other elements to it and shouldn't have, and they start losing them zeros. They start losing those zeros on their bank account and on their income. And man, when I saw that, man, I realized early on, man, I said, man, if I'm gonna lose money on eye contact or saying something inappropriate, hey, I'm not going down that route. I'd rather keep things straight and narrow, man, and just, hey, we gonna stay focused on making this money and keeping this business relationship.
I think that's a whole nother show right there. But I think it's something
that it is.
Talk about, right? and it needs to be talked about, but it is real, and that they have to be taught and understanding that. And also, just as I say that, I cannot not say this at the same breath that women understanding, like, that the support is needed from us as well, because we get beat up on, and it can be tough, but that kind of brings you down the whole relationship and the maturity age, and that's why I'm kind of happy I got my gray whiskers, because that's some wisdom that's got there. You learn a few things along the way,
Exactly, yeah.
So no, but again, they have the opportunity to dominate, but men make whoever you are that are watching, there's an opportunity is out there if you have a collaborative, if you have an abundance mindset, and you're not afraid to collaborate, you're not afraid to learn from someone else, and position yourself, and then realizing that you are enough. The internet is massive.
Yes,
and you can serve so many people across the world to see value of you. It's so big that if everybody in your hometown it hated you, and you lived in New York City, that's 9 million people. The internet in the world is so big, you still could build a lifestyle and create a business that dwarfs whatever they think and still serve your purpose. Like, it's that real, It's an unprecedented time that even our parents and our grandparents didn't live in, to have this type of opportunity where you can reach over the waters and touch people and create a service. Like, it's incredible, man. It's
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are truly living in the greatest times there are right now, where if you want to create a future for yourself, if you want to create a legacy for yourself, it's never been easier. As far as having a global reach, and like you said, I think, like you said earlier in the show, man, the missing key for most people is that they're lazy and they're not willing to put in the work.
Yep. If you put in the work, you think outside the box, and you don't get caught up in those preconceived ideas of what it's supposed to be, and where it is. Like, I shout out to all the ladies that are watching this show right now. Two men having a conversation. Thank you. Are thinking that you're getting sucked into the big blue void, of thinking that Facebook is the only way to success, and that's so not true. And also, I want to break another myth while I'm on here. We talk about breaking outside the box. Everyone that has a high concentration of likes does not necessarily translate into high amount of profits. Okay?
Absolutely.
It's a lot of popular people out there who broke as hell.
You're right about that. You preach it now, brother.
They couldn't fight their way out of a wet paper bag with some scissors. They have a massive following of people, and they're like, wow, but they don't know what to do with it. And then there's people who are taking, and what I see a lot of people are getting, they're getting subpar information, or some information that's 2 to 3 years old, that's been passed down, and then they're paying this crazy amounts of money of information that is outdated. It's like, it's not even happening. I do want to drop this to you. I want to make sure I put this in here, because I want to make sure I give value to everyone that's here, and hopefully everyone has seen value in being a part of the show. One of the things that you realize, I'm really big on distribution and understanding you can create, you create your own distribution in this process, or get help with it, right? And we think that it has these high price tags always associated with it, when it doesn't. But I want you to think about this. They show this right now. We're in the middle of, at least when this is being taped during election season. So you look on television. I think yesterday I saw that Hillary. You got Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump are battling out for presidential presidency, and Hillary's camp created $60+ million of campaign funds that were raised online alone.
Wow.
Now let's be clear about that. Let's break this down so you understand what they're saying to you that you don't see. You hear the word online, you're like, okay, you think it's a website or something like that. No. $60 million that was created via emails. I'm going to say that again. $60 million created via email marketing. That's online. They created $60 million of money. This is on a monthly basis. Now, this is calculated every month. The month before that was like another 50 or 60 million. Every single month, they create millions of dollars through simple tasks of email marketing. Is that not powerful?
That's powerful right there.
This is a tool that you have every single day that you use every day. And for the most part, it's absolutely free. Okay? So do what you, Les Brown that says, do what you can where you are with what you have, knowing that what you have is good enough. So what I want to give to you guys is, in the same vein of that, I want to give you a 10-point checklist that'll allow you to leverage, and it's free, that'll allow you how to leverage a platform. That platform in particular is Instagram. If you're not on Instagram, you don't use it, you're going to love this because it's going to help you increase your audience and be able to generate the prospects and leads from targeted people that are looking for you and whatever it is that you have to offer.
Exactly.
You know? It's like you got a little vibration happening over there on your side, huh?
Yeah. But definitely, you hit the nail on the nail right there. So you said the 10 things, right?
Yes, yes. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab this link really quick, and then I'll drop it in over here so you guys can have it. But yeah, you can. It's 10 pointers that, you know, I told you I learned from the best of the best.
Yes.
And so I think it's important that, you know, you don't have to go out here trying to reinvent the wheel, much like my friend that, you know, drove trucks. I didn't have to figure it out. I followed the path. He had the light in the darkness, and I walked behind it. And what happened? How you get here? Well, I followed this path.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I'll get that for you guys right quick. Yep.
Well, definitely, that is some powerful information there. And everyone, definitely, even for the ones who watched the replay, there's been some great nuggets tonight, great value. And when it comes to leadership, it's always, one thing about leadership, when you want to know who a true leader is, the leader is someone who is not talking about it, but they're doing it. And when it comes to someone like Anthony Abron, he is someone who is winning championships. He is someone who's been down the dark paths and who can show light where you didn't think there was light at. So I guarantee you, it will behoove you not to take a look at these points that he put into this link right here. And definitely, you have any last closing statements you want to make, Brother Abron, and you kind of share how to get in contact with you?
Yeah, let me see here. Yeah, the best way to get in contact with me is to definitely find me on LinkedIn and connect with me on LinkedIn, and I'll pull my LinkedIn link and put it in here. Will they be able to see this?
Yes. Yeah, put it in the link, and even on the replay, they'll still be able to see it.
Okay, I'm gonna pull up this other one really quick. I'm trying to get it, but I'll make sure. Give me 1 second. Sorry for not having it up.
Oh, no problem.
Give you my link and put that in there. Give me. And there we go. So here is my. I just put that in the link to connect with me on LinkedIn. You can definitely as well connect with me via hold on 1 second, via Instagram. And I'm gonna make sure I put this link in here as well. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna drop this to you.
Okay. Drop it on in, bro. Drop that money link in.
You know, I had to change computers. I had this all set up before, and then changing computers, so I had to bring it all back up again.
Okay. Yeah, I definitely understand that, man. But the good thing is you have more than one computer, and that's what champions do. That's what warriors do when they go into battle. You know, if the first weapon don't work, you pull the next one out and keep on fighting.
Always keep a plan B.
That's right. Absolutely.
Yeah, I almost got it here. Let's see too. Make sure I put that in your hands, because this is like invaluable to me, to have this information, and I know that it'd be valuable to them as well. And here we go. Whoops, that is not the one I want to give you. I am pulling it up. I'm going as fast as I can. It won't take me that long. But yeah, my biggest thing is I want to make sure that you understand is that here we go. Now I got it. Yeah, this is a very powerful tool, because what's going to happen is, you know, it literally is 10 daily steps that you can do to create over 30,000 followers on your Instagram, and it also allows you to be able to get over 20 targeted leads that are people that want what you have. You know, I'm a big proponent. You know, people, you know, they say the magnetic network or magnetic marketer, as you say, right, is because the key to that is knowing how to attract the right people to you and become the hunted instead of being the hunter. See, I reverse engineer everything from the top down. So I want my thing is to help people, you know, where you can understand how to become the hunted instead of the hunter. And when you become the hunted, see, you're not chasing people all every day. You're not looking at the phone. They're coming to you. You're looking in your email box, and there are people saying, how can I work with you?
Yes.
Well, here go 10 steps to help position yourself that where people are saying, hey, how can I work with you? All right. How can I do it? So I'm going to drop that right here in the box as we speak.
Yeah, drop that right into the comment box section to the right.
You got it right there.
Perfect.
And it's really simple. And I'll say it, and that website is anthonyabron.biz, B-I-Z, buildermastery.com. And that's my name, Anthony Abron, as you see there, all together, .biz, buildermastery.com.
That's powerful, man. You definitely have brought some nuggets to the table, man. And like you said, someone with a small resources, if they didn't have a start tonight, they have a start.
And they got to start.
They got to start. And you lay down a foundation so they know when the tough times come, then you've already let them know that, hey, you got to stick your head up higher to see. You got to stick your head up higher to see the promised land. So you are truly, man, you truly are a gift from God, man, and really blessing a lot of people who are going to watch this, man. And I am so grateful and thankful that you came on and just to share with me and everyone else just the journey that you've been on and how the experience that you have had and what you've been through is not only going to change the last name Abron's legacy, but change the legacy in so many other people's lives, man. So I thank you so much, brother.
Hey, you know, in all sincerity, you know, thank you, because I'm honored, you know, that you would think enough of me to be on here. So I honor you for thinking of me and allowing me to be on this platform. And I thank all the people who took the time out of their day to watch me, because this speaks volumes of you. But I thank you for listening, because you didn't have to listen to us. You didn't have to be here, listen to a word I said. You didn't have to take action. You could have stayed where you're at, but you chose to be right here. And I am truly grateful for that. So I want to make sure that you understand that I'm appreciative of you, of your time, and I honor that.
Oh, man, we are so blessed to have you on. And I want to thank everyone who's watching on michaelmusenow.com, and thank you everyone who's watching on Blad. But everyone wants you to know you have been on a show tonight with some great information, some great nuggets to move your life forward, because we've been talking about breaking out of the norm. So whatever situation you're in, whether you're in business, whether you're in relationships, you could take things to a new level because you got a new mindset and a different vantage point where you come from. Because you are on right now with Michael Muse from the Michael Muse Show, the author of Rise and Burn, the fearless coach. And guess what? You are an irresistible magnet, attracting all things that belong to you by divine right. Ladies and gentlemen, y'all have a good night, and I'll see you next week at the same time, Tuesdays at 9 p.m. Central, Eastern, 9 p.m. Eastern. Thank you.